Hello everybody, welcome back. So like 3 years ago I made this video while I was backpacking around Europe about things that you absolutely need when you are staying in a hostel, sort of like a packing list. And I got good feedback on the video, but I also got heaps of comments being like, oh, you should also bring this, oh, you should also bring this. So I figure this is the perfect time to do an updated version. So without further ado, here is my updated packing list for y'all. The number one thing that I had a lot of people write in the comment, and that I kind of touched on but not really, is bringing a sarong or some kind of like material, like a sheet almost, because it has so many uses. Yeah, you can use it as a curtain, but you can also use it as like a hair towel. You can use it as a pillowcase if you don't have one, or if you think that the hostel pillows are kind of gross. You can use it on the beach as like a cover up. You can use it as a blanket. You can use it as a dress, as a shirt, as a scarf. Like there are just so many uses for a sarong. But now I think every time I go anywhere, I'm just gonna bring a sarong with me because it's so versatile. It's like the potato of the clothing world because it has so many uses, you know? So at the end of this video, I'll just go through everything I said in the first video, but for now, let's stick to the updates. And another thing that I didn't take with me, but a lot of people say is really useful, is a washing line. So I've had something similar when I went camping. It's essentially just a piece of elastic, but it's sort of wound together so that you can hang stuff in it without needing pegs. I'm gonna put a picture up here because I do not think that I'm describing it properly, but you essentially can just hang it up anywhere. I found that most hostels have sort of places that you can hang out your laundry, or at least if not all of them, every third or fourth one that you go to will have a space, which means that you can just do your laundry when you're at a place that has the space. But having a portable washing line would be good also, especially if you're planning to just like do little random hand washings here and there rather than doing big loads. One thing that people seem to really love in the video that I did last time was having a tote bag and putting all of your essentials in it and sort of keeping it hanging over your bed, especially if you're on the top bunk. You don't want to be having to like find your phone and find your charger and all that when it's like down the bottom. If you can hang it on a tote bag on the edge of your bed, that's perfect. And then I had someone also say that they like to have another little bag for everything that goes with them to the bathroom. They'll put in their toiletries and their clean socks and underwear and clothing and their towel and stuff, just so they've got somewhere to put it or hang it so that it's not all going to get wet and disgusting. Because honestly, hostel bathrooms can be so gross. Like some of them, yes, okay, some of them are really nice. I stayed in this hostel that had a shower curtain, but the rod had broken. So someone tied it to the ceiling, but instead of tying it to the ceiling with rope, they used old earphones. Like they got an old earphones and used that as a rope to tie to the ceiling. Like gross. But anyway, if you have like a little bag that you can keep stuff in, that'll stop you from having to put it on the gross floor, you know? Which also brings me to my next thing, which is shower shoes, which a lot of people also commented that they take flip-flops or shower shoes. But obviously you don't want to be like carrying shoes just for the shower. So having like your beach shoes and your shower shoes double up is a good one. Another thing is tissues and toilet paper. Like I know that this probably isn't super hostel specific because most hostels obviously will have toilet paper, but I found, especially when I was traveling through Southeast Asia recently, having toilet paper and tissues on you at all times is good. Not just for spilling food, but also when you need to go to the bathroom and there's no toilet paper to be found. I always have like a plastic bag in my suitcase slash backpack that is where I put all my dirty clothes, because there's nothing worse than having like a dirty stinky shirt and then you put it in your bag and then it makes everything else smell kind of gross. I'm notorious for re-wearing clothes over and over, especially when traveling, especially when I can't be bothered to do my laundry. But sometimes you're like, this can never be worn again. I need to put it completely separate from everything else. So I just always have like a little plastic bag that I keep in my bag and I put all my stinky stuff in there. Okay, this tip I love. Someone commented on my video that they always travel with a sleeping sheet. I did mention that I like to take a pillowcase with me when I go to places, especially if the hostel feels like a little bit dirty. But a sleeping sheet is such a good idea because sometimes I wonder like, okay, they've changed the sheets on this bed, but have they changed the doona cover? Like, am I just marinating in someone else's gross body secretions? Yeah, that sounds so gross. But a sleeping sheet would actually solve that. I feel like that would be good. A sleeping sheet, if you don't know, it's essentially just a sleeping bag, but just a sheet, and you use it inside a sleeping bag. But that would be a good thing to travel with because it's small and it can roll up really easily, but then you're also getting the protection. The person did write that it's good because it will protect you from bed bugs, but then your sheet would just get bed bugs, right? So I don't think it would work in that regard. Like, honestly, I'm a bit of a grub, so yes, I'm like, ew, this is kind of gross, but I'm also like, I also don't care, I'll just have a shower in the morning. But if you're a bit icky about germs and touching other people's stuff, especially like traveling post-COVID, I think I'm going to be a little bit more wary of cleanliness, so I think maybe a sleeping sheet is a good idea as well. Right, 2 things that people commented on that I have never heard of before in my life. Number 1 is paracord. So many people say that they travel with paracord, and I looked it up, and from what I can tell, it's just like really strong rope, like what they use in parachutes, which would probably come in handy. They probably needed it at that hostel with the earphones on the ceiling. Okay, if you're like camping and if you're like adventuring and hiking, maybe paracord would be good. I personally am not as outdoorsy as that. Like, I don't know what I would use rope for. Actually, I guess it would be good like clothesline maybe, and you could probably use it to hang up your sarong as your curtain if you needed to. I don't know, but everyone said paracord, so I'm just gonna say it here in case for some of you it makes sense. And then the second thing is something called plug phones, which are a hybrid of earplugs and earphones, and apparently they're used by like tradies and workmen, but it means that you can like, I guess they're just like noise cancelling earphones essentially, because in my last video I sort of mentioned that you need earplugs if you're staying in hostels because some people are assholes, or even not even assholes. If you're just a light sleeper and someone comes in at night, like they could be really loud and wake you up. So earphones, plug phones, maybe look into that if you're someone who likes to like listen to music while you fall asleep but also want to have earplugs in. All right, so that's basically all of the additions that I had to my list. I'm gonna go through everything that I had in my first video just as like a refresher. Number 1 is an eye mask. Like, obviously you're gonna need an eye mask and earplugs. Number 2 is a padlock. I had a comment on my last video saying that they knew someone who had a combination lock in a hostel and his stuff got stolen because the thieves could be bothered to just sit there like trying all the combinations. So a padlock with a key is definitely a good idea. If you can get one with like 2 or 3 spare keys and just keep them in different places, that's probably best, because I can just picture myself locking all my valuables somewhere and then not being able to open it again. A portable charger. I think everyone's kind of at the point now that we're all traveling with this, but a portable charger in a hostel is so handy, especially if your bed isn't anywhere near a power point. Some hostels are awesome and each bed has their own little USB charger and everything like that, but then sometimes you're in like shitty old ones and the power point's all the way on the other side of the room and someone else is like charging up their drone and you can't plug your phone in. So having a portable charger is definitely a good thing to have. Keep it in your little tote bag, on your bedpost, with your cord, and then it's right there in the middle of the night when you need to charge your phone. Boop. There you go, done. Tupperware. Have a Tupperware container. It doesn't even have to be that big, but if you're staying somewhere for a few days and you're gonna be keeping stuff in the fridge, or you're planning to cook and you wanna have leftovers, Tupperware containers came in so much more handy than I thought. I always travel with like a little bit of washing powder so that I can do hand laundry, just like washing socks and undies and stuff, because like I said, I'm a bit of a grub and I wear a t-shirt like 3 days in a row, but I will not wear underwear and socks 3 days in a row. So good to have some laundry powder to just sort of like wash it in the sink and then hang it up in your room. The tote bag, which I touched on already, definitely my number 1 tip, I reckon, is like, it's kind of like one of those things that you're like, oh yeah, that's a good idea, and then you do it and you're like, this works, this is good. And packing cubes, I definitely love packing cubes, mainly because then I can sort of divvy up all my stuff. So if I'm traveling with a big bag, I can put everything that I'm gonna need for the next couple days into one packing cube and then just sort of live out of that, and then I don't have to keep going in and out of my locker or out of my bag, which is under my bed. But having like a packing cube, or even just like a little bag that you can just sort of like live out of while the rest of your stuff stays in one place, because the worst thing is getting to a hostel room and then having to like tear apart your bag to find that one shirt that's all the way at the bottom, and then your stuff's everywhere and there's like 16 other people in the room. Like, no, being able to live out of a small packing cube or a small bag is good. And yeah, I think I already mentioned a pillowcase, but I didn't travel with a pillowcase last time, but next time I stay in a hostel, I will be taking a pillowcase, just because, I don't know, feels kind of better having my face on my own pillow, knowing that it's clean. Or at least, like, even if it's not clean, at least I know that it's just my grossness on it, not someone else's. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you're about to embark on an amazing travel trip, going through hostels, going backpacking, doing something fun. And just like last time, if you have any suggestions, just leave it in the comments below. I want this to turn it into a space where like people can say like, oh, I did this and it really works, and then other people can come along and read the comments and get inspired. So have a beautiful day. See you in my next video. Bye.